we're good to go. Like the jury's still out on the video, but we got the audio, and we know that Skipty's fixed worse.
I'll fucking beat you. Like this man's one job is YouTube shit, and like there'll be multiple moments where I'm like,
This is
Swag,
what
do you
Skippy
know?
does, bro. I don't do this shit. This is literally the first time I've been the one to record this. This will be Skipty's problem, not mine. So sorry, Skipty.
So my name's Lucas. I'm 30, and I live in Stockholm, Sweden. I have a lot of colleagues in Ukraine and friends in Ukraine, and so I was seeing Twitter blow up, from them. And then I just saw this picture of BMPs and BTRs, armored personnel carriers, passing through one of the main streets in Kiev, right next to one of the esports studios where I've personally been and worked, right? All of a sudden, everything's changed overnight, and now all of these people, my friends, don't have a decision to make. I am of the very thorough belief that there comes a point in time, like in all of our lives, where we have to make an exquisite decision. Some of us have the luxury to make a choice, others don't. I think that, to me, this was my moment like that, especially after President Zelensky he issued a statement saying that friends of Ukraine are welcome to come and join the International Legion. And so I did. I called the embassy in Stockholm and said, like, hey, I'm interested in helping Ukraine. So we took a train from Krakow to Lviv. But the thing is, as we're crossing through, we've already crossed, and we're like 15, 20 feet away from us, and there's this Ukrainian train guy yelling on this side, the Polish border guard's yelling back on this side, our guy in the middle, we're a little bit further to the side, we have no fucking idea what's going on. I'm working with these complete fucking strangers, and some of them are so tech illiterate that I'm like, why the fuck do you even have a phone, dude? Like, you could get one of those little wristwatches from the Flintstones, look at the sun with the shade to tell the time. That's what he would need, like. It was absolutely ridiculous. It was fucking ridiculous. Have you guys read of Mice and Men?
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, so it's like Lenny, look at the rabbits kind of guy. He doesn't speak fucking English, okay? The Polish border guards speak kind of okay English. So Lenny eventually he just came through, and we're running onto the train with all of our shit. We didn't have, there were no tickets left, so we jumped in and we sat in this aisle on this like steel flooring, in between. And I was like, Lenny, the fuck did you do? He was like, I don't know. And I'm all balled up, like in my chair. I'm kind of like this on my side, like that, because it was so cramped on the hard floor. It's incredibly uncomfortable. So I'm woken up by a flashlight in my face. And there's these two gorgeous Ukrainian soldiers. And there's like, poking us. Like, who the fuck are you guys? I wasn't worried, because why would they shoot us on the train? But there was definitely a sense of excitement, because it's like, if I'm not even gonna be inside of the combat area and this is it, it's like I've made my peace, boys. This isn't too bad.
Jesus.
And that train ride took 16 hours in August with blackout regulations on the train. They have these thick wool curtains on every window. You can't open them, no nothing. And the temperature very quickly spikes up to like easily 100 degrees. We're like, guys, it's kind of, it's fucking hot. And so we all start undressing. And then eventually it's like, it takes 30, 45 minutes. And we're just a bunch of naked dudes sitting in there. Like it's me, the other three Swedes, and two Ukrainian soldiers. And they're also like down to their underwear going like, oh, no, you are bana.
Usually I skip those scenes.
I would too, but there was like no fast forward option this time. In our shared agony, we bond with these Ukrainians. We were all so miserable. And when that train ride ends and we get down to Odessa, we all like shake hands with the Ukrainians, and then they're off on their merry way. We stayed in a village on the bank of the Dnipro River. We're setting up our kit inside of this dining area. With like the tables have moved away and everything already, and it was like long abandoned. But so we were going to sleep in this Etos area, and then we start hearing this like noise. And I look at the other guys and I'm like, guys, this sounds like it's a BMP. A BMP is an armored personnel carrier that has a 25mm gun. This was literally the front line. Or this is right after we took back Kherson, but the Russians were still on that opposite side of the bank. And so we were worried, like, did the Russians cross with any like amphibious assets? Did they, we don't know what this is. And then as it comes around, it's this little shitty white car that just has awful transmission issues that makes it sound just like an armored personnel carrier. And out hops these two Ukrainian dudes, and they're like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? So we follow them, and then we talk to their CO, and he's like, okay, you guys can lodge with these soldiers, and we lodge with them. And that's the the follow-up and the artillery thing came in later that night. A shell came in and burst 30 feet from the house, and the shrapnel hit the brick wall. And we were sleeping on the other side of that brick wall. Everyone in the house were like, oh, shaken. I did this. I woke up and like, am I wet with blood? Have I been hit? Oh, okay, never mind. Out again. Like 30 seconds. So I was just, I was so tired, man. So,
Feel like you're in a different plane of existence when you're that sleepy and everything's happening.
I met a lot of extremely interesting people. It attracts really, really good people. Like the types of people you want on your team in civilian life. As a boss, as a co-worker, as anything. Like, you want these people in your life. I've been home now since March of last year, so it's nearly been a year since I was in Ukraine, which is fucking crazy. But I've isolated because I don't want to sit around people who don't want to talk about Ukraine. Because I have friends who are still down there. Like, I've lost a lot of friends. Like, I've had a lot of friends killed, and, you know, a couple of wounded. I have these group chats that I'm in on Telegram and on WhatsApp and stuff. Some of those names are just still there, but the guys are long gone. I feel like maybe this is going to be similar to like a lot of the guys, who served in like Afghanistan and Iraq. You know, they ended up going back several times when it was an ongoing conflict because they probably felt like the same in terms of, you know, why am I back here when they're still over there? Like, how is that fair? I think I understand why so many of those other veterans were like, yeah, I want to go back. It was fucking awful, but I want to go back because of that camaraderie and because of that sense of duty to the other guys that you're with. I have a very particular moment when we were driving on a road on the west side, on this left side were our guys, on the right side were the Russians, and about 600 meters away, like consistently they were Russian snipers that were firing at the vehicles on this road as they were driving, and they had killed someone like the day before we came over, and we were stuck there behind that truck, moving super slowly. Easy fucking target. And at the time when I was in the car, I was like, fucking happens. It fucking happens, I guess, you know, right? But now in hindsight, if I get stuck in traffic, man, like I can have a panic attack. I hate wearing my seatbelt. And we never put our seatbelts on in Ukraine, obviously, because, you know, you're wearing all your shit and you need to get in and out quickly or whatever. We need to see support. I think that the fact that we were like, no, we can't put tanks we can't give Ukraine tanks, that's gonna fucking escalate shit. How can you escalate a fucking war? If the Russians were going to use a fucking nuke, they would have used a fucking nuke. And if the Russians deploy a tactical nuke, then the West, NATO, are going to absolutely obliterate Russia with conventional warfare. Do you want to live in a world where the Russians have a say in your domestic policy because they have that level of influence? Russia has always been expansionist like that. I mean, look at what they did in Chechnya twice. Look at what they did in Georgia in 2008. Look at what they did in Transnistria. We live in a world that's so connected today that if something happens, if Washington blows up tomorrow, I will be affected by it. If Berlin blows up tomorrow, you will be affected by it. I think it's very sad to see that a lot of the mainstream publications, they don't report in the same way they used to. I think that one I go back to a lot that I really like is like how the Time magazine reported on World War II. This is the picture. They put this in the Time magazine. And if you think of it like contextually for the Time magazine, you know, was the magazine. But they were very split on if they were going to publish this or not, obviously. Because, like, can we show the public this? Are they ready for something like this? But they made that explicit decision because they were like, yeah, well, we need to show them what our boys are going through. I remember the reporting around Irpin and Bucha when that happened in 2022. When that came to light, you know, like, we saw the images where the bodies were blurred in the street of the people who had been shot. Like, why would you blur them? These people have faces, they had names, they had ambitions, they had lives. We're forgetting the people. And that's a cost that I know now too well. So many of my friends know too well. They're not capturing the suffering of the daughter trying to, you know, get her mother who's slowly dying because she's covered by rubble after a Russian shelling or missile attack, or the, you know, hundreds of orphans and fuck, man, you know, like it's awful. How are they going to get a genuine understanding of what's going on without being there? And if they can't get a genuine understanding, how can they formulate a valid opinion on support or not support? For the first time in our lifetime, in our generation, we have a very clear antagonist and protagonist, a very good versus evil type situation. And even so, if you're going to argue with me and say, hey, but Ukraine, corruption, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, of course, Ukraine has lots of issues. But the most pressing one right now is that foreign invader that are massacring her people, that are killing my friends, maiming hundreds and thousands as, you know, this war continues just completely needlessly. I think that Peter actually told that story of one of the guys, a good friend of mine down there in the unit that I was attached to at the time, who lost one of his childhood friends who was killed by artillery. So obviously my friend was devastated because that was his childhood friend. They'd grown up together, gone to school together, gone to football together, everything. But that gets lost. And there are so many thousands of individual tragedies like that because it's 50 dead in this town. Artillery kills this many in this town.
And just said it better myself, honestly. One of the things you said earlier, the quote of like, they need to see the body, not the tarp over the body, that really resonated with me.
Bringing awareness in turn means that is brought up to the higher echelons of government in countries that are supporting Ukraine and by extension saving my friends. And that's at the end of the day all I care about. So thanks guys, really appreciate it.
What if it's me looking down on me? The world above must also be. This could go on for infinity.